excitement, controversy, the heights of victory, and the depths of despair experienced by the exact same person in the exact same night. What do they think of WWE's 2024 Money in the Bank Premium Live event? Well, here's my review. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason C. McLean. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and of course, ring that bell for notifications to be notified of all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown, wrestling opinion pieces, and of course, reviews of WWE Premium Live events. I'm recording this July the 8th in the early afternoon, so I've had a couple of days to digest what happened at Money in the Bank. I don't think I fully digested it, but I'm going to do my best. I had talked about bringing in a letter grade system for reviews, starting with this video. Not quite there yet. Haven't worked out all the kinks, but I might still give a little letter grade here and there. But there was a lot to digest. There was a lot to think about. And yes, this was a pretty controversial Money in the Bank. So let's get right into it with the first match. Of course, I'm talking about the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Okay, before I go any further, I think it's important that we look at this match in the context of the match itself, separated from what happened later in the show as a result of Drew McIntyre winning, what we all expected would happen later in the show. So, okay, hot start to the show, hot Toronto crowd. We got the national anthems. We got entrances. Jey Uso first through the crowd, really great entrances. The bell rang. Drew McIntyre almost won it right off the bat, knocking everyone out of the ring by using the ladder as a weapon and setting up the ladder, almost getting the briefcase. Of course, he didn't off the bat. Everyone really looked good. Carmelo Hayes and Andrade had their moments. So did the presumptive winner, main event Jey Uso. Same thing with LA Knight. A lot of it was these guys against Drew. Chad Gable probably had the most memorable spot of the match. Channeling his inner Jeff Hardy, he hung on to the briefcase as the ladder was removed, dangling above the ring for a few minutes or a few seconds, actually. No, he didn't get speared off another ladder, but he did eventually drop to the ground and right away ate a spear from Jey Uso in waiting. Ow. And speaking of Jey Uso, he had the biggest hope spot of the match where he almost won it. He was at the top. Of course, you can see the way they were shooting it, that something was going to happen. And Drew McIntyre drops him off the ladder by hitting him in pretty much the face or really the arms with the ladder. It was quite an inventive way to use a ladder as a weapon. I don't remember seeing that in the Money in the Bank ladder match. There was a few years where I didn't watch wrestling, so if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but that definitely did seem very inventive, and it's probably the first time I've seen it at least. And Drew then walked up the ladder himself, grabbed the briefcase, and became Mr. Money in the Bank. And he was Mr. Money in the Bank for about an hour and a half tops. We're going to talk about that later. But despite what we all knew might happen with Drew winning, as far as the match itself went, it was fun. It was good to watch. I said I wasn't going to officially bring in the letter grades, but I'd give this one maybe a B+. Was this the best ladder match I've ever seen? No. Was this the worst? No. If you take out what's going to happen later, was this a really good way to start the show and a good result? Absolutely. Yeah. Fun way to start the show. Good ladder match. Good ending. Then for the Intercontinental Championship, the champion Sami Zayn defending against challenger Braun Breaker. Okay, that's it. I have a new policy with my predictions. If I ever really think Sami Zayn might pull through and really hope he's going to pull through, but everyone's saying he's not going to, I'm not going to come up with some convoluted way to explain how he retains like I did this time, saying Chad Gable would win Money in the Bank and interfere. I'm just going to stick with my heart. I'm going to support Sami. I'm going to believe in miracles until the miracle stops happening. Sami Zayn retained. While Zayn did get some aerial maneuvers in, Breaker led the early part of the match. Using his size and speed as an advantage, Breaker hit some really devastating clotheslines. At one point, Zayn even hit the Blue Thunder Bomb, which Breaker kicked out of. Breaker hit a Frankensteiner, but Zayn kicked out. Outside of the ring, Breaker went for one of those running clotheslines, but Zayn leapfrogged him like he did on Raw. But unlike on Raw, Breaker didn't hit the steps. He stopped himself, so went to an announce table spot. Back in the ring, Zayn hit an exploder suplex. Breaker missed the haluva kick, though, turned it into a gorilla press, but Zayn kicked out. Breaker tried to spear, but Zayn countered it with a kick. Haluva kick, 1, 2, 3, and still your Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn. I was very happy with this result. I was very pumped, and it does make sense. Yeah, this is Breaker's first main roster loss. But for your first main roster loss to be against Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship on a PLE, Breaker's still going places. In fact, they might have a rematch at SummerSlam. It was such a good match. They might have a rematch at SummerSlam. And I could see Breaker winning that one, although I'm always going to cheer for Sami. He's my boy. Okay. I was happy with this match. If I had to give it a letter grade, I'd say maybe a B. I like the fact that this was probably the only match on the show that was just a pure wrestling match without a lot of interference or funky stuff happening. Of course, the ladder matches, you kind of expect that. But yeah, this was the first only real pure wrestling match on the show. And of course, it was won by Sami Zayn. Miracles do continue to happen for Zayn. I'm happy, and I hope they continue to happen. And then we got the annual Money in the Bank appearance from John Cena, or rather the second annual. If this goes to a third annual next year, that's going to be the last, at least with him in ring gear, because Cena announced his retirement, or rather his retirement tour for all of 2025. He's probably going to show up a few more times in 2024, but he's going to make Royal Rumble as his last, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania, and he's going to go right to the end of 2025. I think it's kind of good that instead of getting random sporadic appearances from John Cena, we're going to get almost a full year run. It's unfortunate that's going to be the end, but you know what? In the last year, he gets to go out the way he wants it. In the last year, I hope he gets a championship. I hope he gets 17 titles. He beats Ric Flair's record, most winning of all time. I think this could be a really good thing and a really fun year. And I think he might show back up a few times after retirement. Who knows? But it's nice he gets to go out as he wants when he's healthy and still balance almost a full year run with his movie and TV career. So congratulations to John Cena on your retirement. Looking forward to the year and a half retirement tour. And then for the World Heavyweight Championship, the champion, El Campeón Damian Priest, defending against challenger and the original World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins. And of course, Judgment Day had promised Priest they weren't going to come to ringside, so we know that there was going to be no funny business. I kid. Okay. After what we knew was probably going to happen when Drew won Money in the Bank, because we knew he said he was going to try and cash in. He was going to cash in during this match this night. It's kind of obvious what was going to happen. The match itself was good. There was a lot of back and forth, some stomps, some choke slams, some successful, some failed. Of course, no pins. I found it really funny that both competitors kept doing a move and then looking back at the aisleway, waiting for Drew to show up. And then Rollins hits a Falcon Arrow, the cover, the crowd and the ref start chanting 1, 2, 3. Well, the crowd chanted 3 because Priest didn't kick out, but the ref didn't count number 3. Now, this was obviously a botch. Either Priest was supposed to kick out or Drew McIntyre's music was late and maybe they were both supposed to, the referee and Rollins were supposed to get distracted by the music cue. But instead, he just didn't count the 3. Because of what comes next, obviously, either the kick out was supposed to happen or the music was supposed to hit, because we needed the triple threat match to explain and justify what happened next. I'd say, let's just talk about the match. I would have given this match maybe a B, but honestly, because of that botch at the end, which I'm sure hurts Damian Priest a lot more than it hurts the audience watching, I'd say that portion maybe is like a C+ because of the botch. But of course, that's not the main thing that happened. Drew McIntyre's music does hit. Drew comes to the ring, cashes in right away, no hesitation. It's a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And right away, Drew takes out Rollins, takes out Priest, is about to win, and from under the ring to a massive crowd pop, here comes CM Punk. He attacks Drew in the ring, hits him with a steel chair, chokes him with a cable outside of the ring. Again, triple threat, no DQs. Drew makes it back to the ring, but Punk grabs the World Heavyweight Championship, hits Drew with it, sits on the announce desk. Cole asks him, Phil Brooks, what are you doing? Punk responds, my job. Damian Priest makes it back to his feet. South of Heaven chokeslam, 1, 2, 3, and still your world heavyweight champion, Damian Priest. Seth Rollins comes around, is not too happy with CM Punk, and that makes perfect sense. I mean, you see Corey Graves holding him back, but Rollins was the first one to hate Punk's return before it became a Punk and Drew thing, because Rollins was in a whole other WrestleMania picture with Cody, and we all know what happened, but it was supposed to be Punk and Rollins. So who knows? Maybe Rollins is now going to be part of this Punk-Drew feud. I don't know if it needs that right now, but it could always help. Maybe it's going to be a triple threat at SummerSlam. Who knows? But the main takeaway is CM Punk has screwed Drew McIntyre out of a championship for the third consecutive time. Or 4 if you count the Raw after Mania, where Punk prevented Drew from becoming a #1 contender for the title. Okay, so let's look at the cons first. It was predictable. After Drew announced that he was going to cash in that night in that match if he won Money in the Bank, and he did win Money in the Bank, and after we didn't see CM Punk try to interfere with his winning the briefcase, we kind of knew this was going to happen. Another con is the fact that I don't really want Damian Priest to be the one facing Gunther at SummerSlam. I was kind of hoping Rollins would, but it makes sense that Punk wouldn't help Rollins because they have sort of an issue with each other. If he did, that would have added a whole other layer to it, showing he hates Drew even more. The big con, I'm going to come to that in a bit, but as far as the pros, this was really exciting and over with the crowd. We all knew it was going to happen, but it was a great bit of WWE overbooked madness. I really enjoyed watching it. It was very exciting to watch. We kind of knew that Punk was going to show up, but when he showed up, the crowd pop was amazing, and it adds a whole other layer to this Drew and Punk feud. And now after it, we heard that Adam Pearce has suspended Drew. We find them both. He suspended Drew. Of course, that means Drew's going to show up in Ottawa, or maybe he's, as he said in the post show, he said he knows where Punk lives. So maybe AJ Lee will come into this after all. Maybe he'll go to try and track down Punk's resident. Who knows? I would have, because of the predictability, I would have given the angle a B, but honestly, because of the excitement and how it fits into the whole Drew Punk thing, I'd say it's an A. But was it worth essentially wasting the Money in the Bank briefcase for this angle? Well, time will tell. I kind of like the idea of somebody holding a Money in the Bank briefcase for a few months, lording it over different stories, also a way to build a new star. So yeah, it was kind of a waste, but you know what? It might be worth it in the end, because this definitely did add a lot to probably, aside from the Bloodline, the hottest story WWE has going right now, and definitely the hottest story on Raw. So while I was kind of hoping Punk would interfere and Drew wouldn't win the money, somebody else would hold the Money in the Bank, the way this went down was really good booking and really fun to watch. Next up was the women's Money in the Bank ladder match between Zoe Stark, Lyra Valkyria, Io Sky, Naomi, Chelsea Green, and Tiffany Stratton. I know I'm not the only one, but I love this match. This was excellent. It started off with Chelsea Green clearing the ring and then attempting and failing to get the briefcase, because the story they had is that she's afraid of heights, so she didn't want to climb the ladder. She tried first to jump and get the briefcase, then tried to knock it down with the ladder. Io Sky, a great aerial competitor, came in, fought a bit with Tiffany Stratton and others. There was a great spot with Naomi straddling both ladders, truly gymnastic. Naomi also had some cool spots with Lyra Valkyria. Io Sky delivered a really nasty looking and impressive pile driver to Zoe Stark off the ladder onto a little ladder bridge. Wow. Chelsea Green finally got the courage to climb the ladder, almost got the briefcase, but then Tiffany Stratton showed up and knocked the ladder Chelsea was standing on and Chelsea down, and Chelsea hit one of the 2 tables that she had set up with Tiffany Stratton as a bit of teamwork earlier in the match. It was, wow, incredible bump for Chelsea Green. Really impressive. But of course, Tiffany Stratton grabbed the briefcase, and she's your new Miss Money in the Bank. No humming and hawing. In my unofficial system, this match gets an A+. It was excellent. It was one of the, not only one of the best women's Money in the Bank ladder matches I've seen, but one of the best ladder matches I've seen. It was incredibly exciting, a lot of great spots. Everyone looked great. You know, I honestly, Of course, I thought Tiffany was going to win. Everyone thought Tiffany was going to win. I'm glad she won because that leads to some very exciting stories in the future involving Bayley, Nia Jax, maybe others. Who knows? I could see Tiffany winning a championship this year. But I think the real MVP is Chelsea Green. And I think she's going even further than she was already. Like that bump at the end, the fact that she was afraid of heights, the whole character work along with the physicality was just incredible. She is my MVP for the match. But Stratton was great. They were all great. This was an excellent match to see on the card. And I was watching it with somebody who hadn't watched that much wrestling, who was amazed by this match. And I was amazed, having watched a lot of wrestling, I was amazed by this match too. Excellent job. And then the main event, the Bloodline, accompanied by Tangaloa outside of the ringside. The new self-proclaimed tribal chief Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu versus Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and the undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. Or this match could also be dubbed Jacob Fatu's coming out party. He was a key factor in all that happened in the Bloodline's favor in this match. Cody was going to start with Solo, but then Solo pulled a Roman, quickly tagged out to Tama Tonga. Jacob Fatu would eventually enter, quickly eat a draping DDT from Randy Orton. But as Orton was ready to give the RKO, got into position, he looked up and saw that Fatu had basically no shoulder that was standing, and he was shocked. Kevin Owens, the emotional favorite in this match, got some good action in particular on Tama Tonga, on Solo. Of course, eventually Jacob Fatu took him out for a bit. Also was really tough on Randy Orton. They both did come back a bit. One point, Cody had Solo beat, but there was a ref bump. Eventually, Jacob Fatu took out all the babyfaces temporarily, woke the ref up. Solo pinned Cody, 1, 2, 3. And the new Bloodline raised their fingers in victory. Of course, the official big takeaway is the fact that Solo Sikoa pinned the undisputed WWE champion in a non-title tag match. So therefore, Solo Sikoa is the number one contender and is most likely going to be Cody's opponent at SummerSlam. Who knows? Maybe Roman will come back there. I don't know. But the other real takeaway is the fact that Jacob Fatu looks incredibly strong. I mean, he was essentially responsible for all, like I said, all the things that happened in the Bloodline's favor in this match. This was a good main event. It was not my favorite match on the show. I'd say maybe an A- in my unofficial rating system, but definitely it was over with the crowd until the end. But again, the important thing of this match was to set up a SummerSlam match between Cody and Solo, and to really show that Jacob Fatu is pretty much unbeatable. Good match. I liked it. Good end to the show. And that's how I saw the 2024 WWE Money in the Bank Premium Live event from Toronto. I guess in my unofficial grading system, I'll give it a B+. Maybe next time I'll make that more formal and grades for, storyline versus action versus whatever. We'll see. Anyways, did you agree with me? What did you think about the fact that we basically got rid of the Money in the Bank briefcase so soon? Was that a waste, or was it worth it because of what it's doing for the Punk and Drew angle? I really enjoyed this PLE. What about you? What did you think? Let me know about any part of it in the comments. Follow at Silo Wrestling on X, at SPS Reviews on Instagram and Facebook, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. And of course, I'll be back with my assorted thoughts on the Ottawa Raw, which is tonight. And this week, I'll definitely get out a wrestling opinion video. Haven't done one of those in a while on a specific topic. For Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.